Good day, Gobbo. Rider Rohan today facing off against the Greenskins. Going to be getting ambushed here by some Night Goblins. Immediately, these Shadow Warriors having to fall back. Thankfully, Lion Chariot here to save the day. I'm trying out some new OBS settings today, so hopefully it's cutting down on the encoding lag, the frame lag that you guys have been saying in some of the recent videos. Trying to get things straightened out in time for Game 3. It's definitely not a hardware issue. It's more of a OBS settings issue. But anyway, we've got Prince on a Star Dragon here. Used to be a super common pick way back in the day, back before High Elves had too many DLCs. Now, still a pretty decent pick in certain situations, certainly against specific green skin units. That is Stone Trolls that can be very solid. There are 4 Stone Trolls here, led by Grom the Paunch. Goblin Big Boss, yes, Greenskins did not bring a caster, but battle's going to be very close, spoiler alert, so just stick with it. We've got some Night Goblin Archers also ambushing here, laying waste to those Silverin Guard. Silverin Guard, pretty decent missile block chance, 75 armor, but they're still going to take significant damage there. But the Lion Chariot and obviously the terror of the Prince on the Star Dragon going to make pretty short work of these Gobbos in the front line. But the second wave of Trolls and Grom incoming here, we're going to get in close as these Lion Chariots just devour some of these Goblins. Or Night Gobbos just having a bad day overall. Grom's going to push out over there while the Stone Trolls make their assault here in the center, going straight in. The Rangers obviously will take a pounding here. Silverin Guard also, I mean, it'll be alright. It's not going to be super ideal for the Stone Trolls, but Silverin Guards don't do as much armor-piercing damage as they used to, so they definitely will take a lot of damage in return. So we'll see there. The Shadow Warriors are just focusing right now on the Stone Trolls. Even with the missile resistance, still can get some pretty good damage in. Likewise, believe it or not, the Dragon's Breath Attack does count as a missile attack and is subject to missile resistance, as far as I understand it, even though it also deals fire damage for any dragon that deals fire damage, obviously. But the Prince here going to drop in, not actually doing any attacks, kind of stutter-stepping around. This is one thing that I hope they address in Game 3 is kind of the monster stutter-stepping issue. It doesn't seem like it was that bad before, and I don't know if some of the changes they made recently, some other mechanics kind of, yeah, made it worse. But anyway, Pocket's definitely collapsing for Rider Rohan here. The Stone Troll assault came in and broke quite a few of his forces here, but the Lion Chariots and Silver Helms kind of forming a pocket of strength, keeping all of these archers routed. Likewise, Grom the Paunch didn't actually get that good of an engagement here. He took a bunch of damage from the Lion Chariots, now grinding down some Silverin Guard as well. They can do enough damage to deal with him given enough time. Regrowth also being put on the Prince to keep him nice and fresh on HP and Vigor. They need stabbing from the Gobbo Big Boss, debuffing melee defense and armor, but 92 melee attack with the Blade of Belcaradra active. Again, a little bit of stutter-stepping issues as it attempts to turn and pull out of that engagement, but instead just going in for a diving attack animation. High Elven army has evaporated pretty quickly, and the balance power is really not looking great, but these Chariots should be able to continue to sustain some damage. There's really nothing threatening them out here. They can just have their free reign to run over hundreds and hundreds of Gobbos, so definitely a grand old time for the Lions, just feasting on Gobbo flesh over here. Meanwhile, the Silverin Guard come in. They're going to block Grom's mass, so he actually gets caught up, and the Silverin Guard able to deal a little bit extra damage, and even the Silver Helms themselves, they are going to actually finish off Grom here and should be able to actually kill him. With him going down, that's obviously going to cause major leadership issues for the Greenskins, despite the fact things look extremely grim for the High Elves. Squig Hopper's getting a nice surround on the Mage there. They've come in excuse me, from a nice little Vanguard position and are now starting to devour what's left of the Elven army here. You can see cleaning up some of these tattered units scattered about the field. Another regrowth, going to try and put that dragon up to its healing cap. If we do check healing received here, it's over 2,000 healing received now, but still has 2,500 and counting capped space left on healing. That's one great benefit of the Star Dragon, is it has a huge amount of HP or a dragon, and thus can also receive a high degree of healing as well. Healer, though, is in trouble. Gonna get charged, take a bunch of damage. Big ol' hit there from the Gobbo Big Boss. Only 360 weapon strength on him, but he's so dirt cheap. that surprisingly decent combatant, especially with those assassination debuffs. Prince is going to drop in, though, and use that massive flaming armor-piercing damage to just body these stone trolls. Try and rinse and repeat on that. Actually did a bunch of damage to the Gobbo Big Boss on a big attack animation right there as well. Trying to screen through the Rangers. The trees are also going to be a little bit of an issue if we kind of take an overhead view of the dragon and see it's having a hard time fitting through the trees. The treacherous little mushrooms there at the bottom, no doubt turning to the side of the greenskins. But anyway, the Silver Helms and the Lion Chariots also came back, started to deal with some of the Squig Hoppers. So High Elves are in a position to maybe make a comeback here. It's going to be very tough, certainly. I haven't seen any breath attacks from the Star Dragon yet, so now would be a pretty good time to start taking advantage of those. That one comes in, just straight up kills a few unit models of Stone Trolls, which is fantastic. Yeah, as much as possible, though, probably both players really don't want to fight here in the woods. If anything, it's going to go slightly in the Greenskins' favor to fight in the woods because they actually do have infantry here, whereas all of the remaining units for the High Elves are large, so they will suffer those forest penalties. The War Lions have Strider, I believe. The Lion Chariots do not, though. They will suffer those forest penalties. Nice charge. Try and get a quick tear out, rinse and repeat. I was actually in a patron practice session yesterday, not with Ryder Rohan, but with somebody else. We were talking about flying monsters, right? Flying terror causing monsters. The biggest thing is staying mobile and trying to spread that terror across the battlefield against factions which are vulnerable to it. You know, that's applicable to like Griffins, Hippogriffs, Dragons to a degree as well. Especially against a faction like Greenskins, Skaven, Beastmen, those lower leadership factions that you can come in, get a quick terror out, get back up into the air, kind of, you know, reposition, and then get another good engagement. And really try and just continuously cycle charge as much as you can. Go to places of weakness. In a late game situation like this, though, you have no choice but to attack a significant position of strength. I mean, this is an unholy death box of the Stone Trolls here. Just do everything you can. You know, technically attacking rule-wise, these Shadow Warriors can continue to apply the attacking rule while everything else cycle charges, and in most rule sets, you're explicitly allowed to cycle charge with multi-model units. Like, as long as the Silver Helms and the Lion Chariots are still alive here, they can continue to cycle charge with the Prince on the Star Dragon. Whereas if the Prince was the only thing left, in most tournament rule sets, he would have to just stand and fight. But this is a great use of these high charge units in unison, exactly how you'd want to use them. You know, charging together, one after the other, preferably from multiple angles. The Lion Chariots are actually going to probably apply a attack in the side debuff here, and that massive leadership penalty just kicks in all the Stone Trolls' terror out there. So a massive, massive boon for the High Elves. They're possibly going to be able to get back and actually win this after nearly losing it to army losses. They're getting pretty close there, actually. It looks like the Stone Trolls do shatter. Ryder Rohan able to clutch out the win there. So fun stuff. Haven't seen a Prince on the Star Dragon do that well in quite some time. Like I said, they used to be a relatively common pick back when, you know, you didn't have Techless Murder Bird, and you didn't have, I mean, Alarielle. Once she came along, she became the meta pick pretty much all the time. You did see a Prince on the Star Dragon a lot more frequently prior to that point, but these days not so much. Can still be decent. In general, the High Elves, like really high damage, high physical fire damage, that is, dragons specifically, are very good against Stone Trolls as long as they don't get completely surrounded and mauled here. So they, basically, you saw that in action, right? The Greenskins, though, I would say would have benefited even just from taking a cheap Gobbo caster with only Vindictive Glare. Could have potentially made the difference against the Star Dragon, just because it's such a nice anti-large spell. Star Dragon has a pretty good amount of armor, but not so much that it really negates too much of Vindictive Glare. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about army values. Prince on the Star Dragon almost clutching out, yeah, 27,000, almost, sorry, no, 2,700. I promise I can English today, guys. 16,696 damage dealt. The Lion Chariot also carrying 1,700 damage value. Absolutely awesome. Love these in a multitude of matchups. Here, they can be a little bit of risk of getting bogged down in Biggins and Black Orcs, but against Goblins, and even against Black Orcs, they're straight all right, as long as they don't get stuck, right? Shadow Warriors definitely got them all, a little bit to be expected. Mixed bag on the Silverin Guard. They're generally here to just hold the line, right, while these other units put in the work. But man, these Silver Helms somehow do even more work than the Lion Chariots in terms of damage value. 2,100 damage dealt, 14, almost 15,000 damage overall. Very impressive performance. Silver Helms, very nice mid-tier Shock Cavalry. I have to say, I love where Shock Cavalry is at after the Cavalry update. Greenskins side, like I said, it would have been nice for them to have a caster, but regardless, huge value on that Gobbo Big Boss. These guys can punch way above their weight class in assassinating casters, going after single entities of many different kinds, supporting leadership. I'm generally a huge fan of the Goblin Big Boss. I think he's a severely underrated character. He used to be a lot more of a common pick. These days you see Bob more often, and like Bob would have been obviously very nice here as well to give immune to psychology to the Stone Trolls once Grom was gone. Goblins probably actually traded all right, despite taking that big bad engagement initially from the Chariots. So they do get some value. The Archers not so much. Squig Hoppers do come in and generate huge value as well. It can be super cost effective in that kind of Vanguard ambush role. But for New Caesar here, I mean, the Vanguard ambush is fun, certainly, but it would have been more beneficial to just keep his main line with Stone Trolls and then come in with Squig Hopper, you know, steel chair from the side door. Speaking of Stone Trolls, they did all right. I mean, it's a little bit of a mixed bag. They're not quite paying for themselves for the most part, but pretty decent. Definitely a very scary unit for many different factions to try and deal with. Thankfully for the High Elves, like I said, dragons are not great at a lot of things. But the High Elven Dragon, specifically, one thing they can do is kill Stone Trolls. I mean, Star Dragon's weapon strength, whether it's the Prince on the Star Dragon or just a regular old unit. Star Dragon here, 580 weapon strength with fire damage and massive attack. Means they'll pretty much always make contact. If we take a look, Greenskins, Stone Trolls, melee defense is not good. 32, be expected. Yeah, against 64 melee attacks. So you do the math. That's going to be a very good hit chance, along with the 45 charge if that's active. Only 80 armor, though. Like I said, that Vindictive Glare could have made a pretty significant difference. And not to mention, Sneaky Stealing can be pretty nice in order to delay the healing received. Literally, I mean, it would have costed almost the same as a Night Goblin just to take this Night Goblin Shaman with only that spell. Definitely could have fit that into that army. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this one. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching. See you next time.